The body image crisis is out of control. And you know I'm in too deep in the slop trenches when I know exactly who these three individuals are. You got Jeff Nippies, Julian Perfect Fitzgerald, and Hussein Farhat.
I feel like everyone is so much bigger or stronger than you. Why is your progress never as good as the people you see on social
Because they're on steroids.
media? Physique inflation is through the roof, the fake natural situation is out of whack, people's expectations of what a healthy or strong physique looks like is warped beyond comparison, and it's all getting worse. But why? Let me take you back in time to the 1970s and 80s where a muscular physique was seen.
See, this is the psyop I've been talking about. Arnold has caused perpetual damage, the likes of which we've never seen before. The 70s and 80s bodybuilding, Muscle Beach, Venice, California wave, although has aura, we're still feeling the effects of how it one-shot men.
As a freak show, a circus act.
And if you want my actual opinion, this is not applicable working out if you're natural, okay? Isolation exercises, trying to get as big as humanly possible, makes you stiff, unathletic, and worst of all, gay. Because you're doing this for the male gaze, okay? At a certain point, this becomes grotesque and cartoonish for the huzz.
Something to watch for amusement, and this was put on full display during the 1977 documentary of Pumping Iron, which would reshape how society viewed the male body for the next 50 years. Now, I've covered the topic of the body image crisis in a multitude of videos by now, going over everything from fake naturals to social media and even movies causing the inflation to the perceived ideal male physique. But today I want to cover all of it and give my own takes as what we can do to
Anyone bigger than me is on steroids.
combat the ongoing crisis.
Anyone smaller than me is a pussy.
And why stuff like fake naturals aren't even the root issue.
How is this still a topic that we're talking about in the year 2025? I was doing this shit in what, 2018?
Going back to the 70s and 80s, guys like Arnold were anomalies. They looked great, sure, but virtually nobody knew they existed, and the marketing world, movies, beauty and fashion were all fairly tame and didn't focus too much about the physique of a model. If you take a look at some of the action heroes from back in the day, like Clint Eastwood, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, and even the guys who played Superman, sure, they were all in great shape, but they looked nothing out of the ordinary.
You may not like it, but this is actually what peak male performance looks like. This is 2 sets of smoking cigarettes and banging models.
Compared to some random fitness influencers today, and would get dwarfed by most modern day actors like Dwayne Johnson or Chris Hemsworth. James Bond
The Rock is natty.
is an example I've used before where the actors used to look like this, but now looks like this. Even in women's beauty and fashion, there were no booty shorts or clothes designed to accentuate their figures beyond their natural bodies. If you fast forward through the 1980s though, we did see a burst of action heroes looking more jacked than ever. Gyms started becoming more trendy. Guys like Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, amongst others, were starring in
All natural. They just work out harder than us.
roles across the big screen, and training, being in shape and looking fit was becoming an ideal that many would actually strive for.
Bodybuilding and physicality became kind of like a hip.
I want Phil's training split. No, you don't. Because I'm not optimized to build as much muscle as possible or get as strong as possible right now. I'm taking a hobby and turning it into something that I enjoy doing, aka boxing and athletic performance. It's not for the everyday man. It's hyper-specific to my current life situation. I've done the heavy lifting. I've done the muscle building. Now I'm applying it towards a skill, a sport. Why? Because it's fun, fulfilling, novel, and hard.
Thing. It's okay to be proud of your body.
But even back then, with the whole action hero craze, people didn't look at these physiques like they were normal. They were perceived as superhuman.
I
Nobody
just do 2 sets of 8 and I don't warm up.
actually looked like that in real life, and they certainly weren't being used in marketing. Sure, you did have supplements and such starting to creep, and even those good old VHS tapes your mom probably bought,
Well, let's go in. All right, let's do it. Let's go move.
but people weren't comparing themselves to Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is what I like to call the healthy body image era, where you still had gyms, you still had bodybuilding, you could see big guys on the screen without feeling like comparing yourself or feeling like
Just lifting can get boring too quickly, to be honest. I mean, it took me 4.5 years to get finally bored of it.
A mistake, but today that has changed. With the global implementation of social media and algorithms designed to show you what catches your attention, with many people posting more screen time than they spend time actually being outside, it now feels like everyone is in
Kid's like 22, 23, maybe even 24, and he's on TRT already. Imagine that. Admitting defeat at the ripe age of 24 years old. Just on a small dose of TRT. Alex Eubanks. Please, dude.
tremendous shape. It feels like everyone is bigger or stronger than you or doing better
The Rock is so natty that his heart gives out. All of these guys never read Sun and Steel, and it shows.
than you financially, socially, or whatever. It doesn't just apply to fitness. And you also have the short form content designed to cut your attention span in half, the clothing and supplement industry who push clothes to accentuate your body, the whole concept of a pump cover, a summer cut, trends like looks maxing. All of this adds up and creates a super
This is just so homosexual. This is spiritually cucked. It's devoid of anything meaningful. There's no purpose to anything.
body fixated society with short attention spans. And that is not ideal if you want your perception to align with the real world. If you think it's bad for the guys with all the roided out influencers and movie stars, not just in the fitness industry, the
Fun fact, Tectone is also on TRT. Is that true? Listen, everyone has their reasons for taking TRT, but I just don't buy any of them.
girls have always been the most vocal topic. And I gotta say, their side is equally disturbing.
We're facing pressures from society and Instagram and magazines to look a certain way. And then we have pressure from everyone else to look a certain way for our sport.
First, you have tons of female fitness influencers who only show off their body in every single video, booty workouts, which are oftentimes ineffective, using scrunch, promoting workouts designed to supposedly get your waist toned and smaller, and on top of that, the whole OnlyFans craze is showing young women that the best way to get rich quick is literally selling your body.
I mean, if you're 60 and completed life, might as well get huge. Yeah, I don't know where I stand on being older and taking TRT. All I know is the old guys that do take TRT will tell you that they take TRT, and it's annoying. Like, yeah, I'm actually more jacked than I've ever been in my entire life, and I have a hankering for young women now. It's like, well, you're just blasting testosterone.
Online to random men, and those men aren't exactly helping because without them there wouldn't be a market for this stuff. Now, though the female side has been very open about their body image issues through the body positivity movement and all that, even something which was supposed to mean loving your own body for what it is turned into a sort of fat positivity movement instead. And for the guys,
See, none of these people actually hate themselves, and that's where we go wrong. I need more rage.
we don't really have anything like this at all. So it seems that even the solutions set in place to combat the rise in body image issues are failing hard. And with social media continuously rising and adapting based on watch time, so does the amount of jargon being pushed in your face. You get creators like Ashton Hall or the Liver King who contribute absolutely nothing and make great money from men's insecurities. You have booty
That's true.
influencers who do all the same stuff without any credentials, and the whole AI revolution isn't exactly helping either, because now you can more easily edit or fake part.
I have a very good hairline at 28. Does it mean my test is low? No, not at all. Hairline and male pattern baldness is an entire rabbit hole. Essentially, it boils down to your sensitivity to DHT, which is different than regular testosterone. DHT is responsible for the virilization of man. Essentially, body hair, thickening of the skin.
Of people's physiques, or within the next year or so, creating avatars or even full social media profiles who look real enough to further
Just kidding. If you're not bald by 19, you're a pussy.
drive up the image of perfection many have in their heads. And for a lot of people, this begins as far down as 12, 13, or 14 years old. I remember that at 13, I didn't even have social media like Instagram or TikTok, so I wasn't impacted by stuff like this as early. But today, kids entering middle school might have their feeds chocked up with superhuman physiques, attention-grabbing content, and let's put it simply, some kids and teens might post their own progress to social media only to get shit on by grown men who have been chronically online for the last 5 years, who think that if you don't look like David Lade within 3 years of training, then you're below average, and if you look better than David Lade in 3 years, then you're on steroids. And now we
There's just no winning.
even have entire subreddits dedicated to looking at other men's physique and gym progress and spending hours discussing what steroids they take while double and triple checking their bodies, looking for anything that can indicate steroid use.
None of this will fix the fact that you're a dork.
Which makes it even worse considering most guys on PEDs look
Like, imagine needing validation.
worse than high-level natural lifters anyways. But here's the thing. None of this is about health, strength, or even fake naturals. The main issue here, and the reason why I believe we have a body image crisis at all, is all about comparison. The moment you start comparing your physique to somebody
That's the stupidest looking physique I've ever seen in my entire life. In many ways, it's exactly what I'm looking for.
else's, you're fighting a battle that you've already lost. Because what you're seeing online is often a curated highlight reel of people with oftentimes better genetics, better lighting, better angles, and oftentimes better pharmacists. If you go into a local gym, whether
You see, the difference between somebody with elite genetics and poverty genetics is how much gear you're taking and your response to those compounds.
it's commercial or even a bodybuilding gym, the physiques you see there will not come anywhere close to the distorted reality you've experienced on social media. And outside of the gym, this becomes even clearer. Many would walk around at
Don't you guys feel really weird when you see guys on social media? Me personally. When I see guys doing like the posing where they're like idling like NPCs, I'm always just like, there's more to life, bro. In no other social setting is that appropriate to be walking around like that. The men's physique guys like have the hovering hand smiling in a mankini.
a public beach and probably feel disgusted looking at other people's bodies simply because of the skewed perception they now have of their own physique and their instinct to instantly compare themselves with those people. And if they see somebody with a better physique,
This is what I look like after 1 week of working out.
they feel insecure or start coming with coping mechanisms for why they don't look like that. It is insanely toxic to your mental health to constantly think like this, and even though we're also in a public health crisis with obesity and lifestyle related disease being on the rise, the gym and fitness community can help combat this.
McDouble has perfect macros, by the way. I'm so serious.
But it's never about health. It's rarely about functional adaptations, strength, endurance, or just doing something. It's mostly about looks.
Do a lot of your friends or fellow gym bros take steroids here?
Most of them.
And I think that focusing on something so subjective that doesn't even have an objective measure of improvement isn't the way to go. Yes, if you look fit, then you most likely are fit. That's a
You guys don't know about the McDouble macros? Check this out. 400 calories, 20 grams of fat, 33 grams of carbs, 22 grams of protein. Insane ratio.
general statement, but looking fit should merely be a byproduct of that fitness, not the goal. As much of a meme it has become, hybrid athlete training or strength sports
No way is it enough protein. That's why you eat 5 of them. Then you're at over 100 grams of protein for 2,000 calories.
can be a lifesaver for this sort of stuff, because it teaches you that your body isn't meant to exclusively focus on visual appeal, but also to use it for something. Heck, if you've been training for 5 years or
Sodium high though?
Why are you as a man concerned about sodium? You understand what that entails, right? Fatter pumps in the gym.
longer properly, then chances are you are nearly maxed out on your natural muscle building potential. And even if you manage to put on a
What's a McDouble? Is it US only? Is it? It's a McDonald's burger sandwich. 110 grams of protein is not enough though. Okay, so eat 5 more. Now you're at 4,000 calories at 220 grams of protein. Are you guys happy yet? All I'm saying is the McDouble has perfect macros. You're not going to find a better stratification of those satisfaction to taste to macro factor anywhere else in this goddamn world. And I don't even eat McDoubles.
kilo of muscle every year afterwards, that's not something you can visually assess at all. So at that point,
Second of all, 110 grams of protein. Are you guys walking around like Ronnie Coleman?
you feel like you're stagnating, and without any progress, most people will start to feel even
4,000 calories. WTF, dude, that's light work.
worse. And this is just a part of human psychology to never be content but always wanting more. That's
I think 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is also overrated. Of course it is. Now, it's different when you're trying to build muscle versus maintain it. It's much easier to maintain the muscle that you've built than to build new muscle. I'd say 0.7 is probably the most aggressive you want to go. Maybe 0.8. But even still, like, people act as if you don't hit your protein for a day, you just wither away into nothingness. It's completely a manufactured psyop to get people to have protein-packed products. The triple P, the protein-packed products. The protein powders, the protein bars, the protein cookies, the high-protein pasta. Protein, 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 protein.
Why I think it's so important to be versatile as well, and focus on performance instead of how you just look in the mirror. Because one, it takes the attention away from just the visual aspect and places it somewhere functional, like strength, endurance, or even specific tasks. And two, it makes you feel a lot better to actually see progress and getting better at something, which is why most of us fell in love with the gym in the first place. The first year or two that you spend in the gym are usually the best, because you can almost see your physique changing every month. You feel a lot better physically. And
you know what happens? Guys, I've tried it. I've done it, okay? You know what happens when you eat too much protein? You get hemorrhoids. You blow out your asshole. I've experimented with all this. You shit it out. We're not made to get 250 grams of protein per day. Yes, it's the same as a double cheeseburger.
Get addicted to that feeling of progress. However, I have to say, focusing on how you look is still fine to do. A lot of people can do that and end up feeling a lot better. If you want to lose 10 kilos to make your abs pop more, then there's no
Chat, I know I sound wrong sometimes, but I am rarely off target, okay? I'm like a sniper. I hit the bullseye every time with my based takes and absolute bunker-busting truth nukes.
downside to that. The downside may come from the reason behind it. Like if you want to get shredded because you saw a video of some lean guy on YouTube, then that means that you didn't really make that choice for yourself.
Ziz bra. You got Jeff's side, Ziz's brother, or chest bra, and I forget who's in the middle.
And you're more likely to feel discouraged if you fail. Now,
Are you Myron, brah?
body image issues and physique inflation isn't something exclusive to new gym goers or even casual lifters. There are bodybuilders with Olympia-level physiques who still think that they're small, like Chris Bumstead, or even Arnold himself, who stated that he felt disgusted by looking at his own body at times.
I never really was satisfied with my body. I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, I don't know how this shit body can ever win.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. You're never gonna escape body dysmorphia. Carbs and fat are underappreciated, I've been thinking. There's a point during your fitness journey that you'll come to some realizations that pretty much address the fact that you've been led to believe something that's not true. You've been psyoped, you've been astroturfed, okay? Energy is life, okay? Protein is necessary, yes. But my God, carbs are not the enemy. Fat is not the enemy. These are tools based on your certain goals, needs, and wants. I'm keto. I'm low carb. I'm a fruitarian. I'm carnivore. You get these tribalistic think tanks that are perpetually warring with each other, when in reality, the truth is somewhere intersectioning into the middle. Call that ikigai, right? You got multiple Venn diagrams. The reality is a balanced whole food diet that is high in protein as well as has enough carbs and fats to fuel your activity and get your desired outcome is probably best. I don't track calories. Well, that's why you're not a bodybuilder, Philion. I have a rough estimate of what goes into my body, and I'm not an idiot in that I have impulse control, and I know what foods crash me. I know what foods make me feel like shit. I know what foods make me feel nice and satiated. I know what foods provide sustenance for performance.
Brag about myself, that's all bullshit.
I don't even eat food anymore. I just photosynthesize. My chloroplasts are working overtime.
Even lifters with high-level education like Mike Israetel, who mind you has one of the biggest informational channels in the industry, has talked openly about how badly he
Here's something that kind of is unique to the fitness industry in that when you build a lot of muscle, you need more protein than the average person, obviously, because muscle is an active tissue. You need protein for protein synthesis, etc. When you stop working out, your muscle will eventually go away. Not forever, you could build it back because the muscle memory, shit like that. But to stay in an forever optimized state of anabolism, meaning building muscle, it is not a glorious life. In many ways, it is unnatural. You're not supposed to be constantly building muscle forever, because now that active tissue needs fuel forever. For as long as you want to upkeep it.
Perceives his own physique, even going to the point of getting liposuction to combat unwanted fat storage.
That's just a complete skill issue. That's body dysmorphia manifest. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. This is some weird transhumanist, deep insecurity going on.
And for what? To potentially win a trophy while being compared to other guys on stage, a super subjective opinion, only to take more PEDs down the line to improve. So what can we do to combat the ongoing epidemic of unrealistic expectations? Even social media and the body image crisis as a whole. One, you can drop the screen time, or at least change it to something more productive for you, something you can learn from. Don't just scroll through a bunch of ripped men and women on Instagram or TikToks with edgy edits, because that doesn't give you anything. 2. Focus on performance instead of your looks. Sure, it's okay if you want to gain muscle or lose fat, but make sure you understand the reason behind it.
Muscle should be a byproduct of your goals and activity, right? It's just that you have that Arnold isolation exercise ideology that pairs well with steroids, in that you can get super physiological results and start mogging people. But athletic performance, sports, hobbies, muscle is usually a byproduct of those activities, and then you can dial in the training to support those things. The average person probably just wants to look good. So any form of physical exercise where they harden their bodies with muscle and lose fat is usually enough.
And look at your own physique more as a byproduct of what you're doing in the gym and not the end goal. And 3, learn to realize that social media isn't real life. Now, I literally work with social media, so it's a bit of an oxymoron to tell you to use it less, but at least realize that what you're looking at isn't comparable to you, regardless of whether or not a person is natural or on steroids. They're not you and you're not them. You need to find your own motivation and not look towards everyone else's, especially if that's someone.
But in the fitness industry and social media, the body is the business card. That is essentially your clout.
Someone else is a random influencer whose only credential is flexing. If you look at a fitness model
Raising your test should be the effect of a healthier life, not the focus. That's beautifully said.
like Jeff Side and say, yeah, I want to look like that. Then after a year, you realize that you're falling very short. Then it's great if that was the initial push that got you to start training, but your focus should change based on what you enjoy. Maybe you found out that getting stronger on bench was more fun, or training for a tough mountain climb or other physical exertions. Now, in the fitness and gym community, we all like to look for optimization strategies by tweaking minor details in our training and dietary regiment, aka science-based lifting, like what Jeff Nipper does, and that's also fine if that's—
I don't think anyone actually enjoys that. I think this is a form of self-hatred and neuroticism.
What you get enjoyment out of. But I would argue for more than 90% of gym goers, the biggest issue is actually showing up and training hard for a long time. And that's also the biggest issue with getting people from the general public interested in health and fitness. What I'm saying has a simple message behind it though.
How do you naturally raise your test? Prioritize sleep and recovery. Eat whole, organic foods when possible. Probably limit alcohol and drugs. Get sunlight.
The physique inflation and body image crisis are the result of many events and factors which have—
Like, these are basic things that we take for granted because of the culture that we live in. Most people are blue light maxed, just getting fucking radio waves blasted to their retinas. And I don't even know all the science behind blue light. I just wear these soy blockers because they're drippy as fuck and it makes people mad until they want to buy them themselves. But the simple things that don't sell well are actually the best for you. Like, hey, maybe you should do some cardio. Well, how can I package that into a plan that I could sell to my audience? You can't. Go for a fucking run. Everything has to be a daily undulating periodization, science-based hyper-optimal workouts. That's gay! Figure it out! Go to the gym, lift. Was that hard? Okay. How do you make it harder? Do the basic shit. Bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, dips, pull-ups, mobility, bicep curls. Like, the problem is, you can't package the information. How do you raise your test? Sleep 8 hours. That's not sellable. That's I can't sell that. That's why you don't hear it. All the grifters ruin this. It's like we're still debating that, like, water is good for you. Maybe you should drink water, not soda.
Accumulated over the last 50 years. But many people always lay—
And people are obsessed with high testosterone, when in reality, you could just have sensitive androgen receptors, meaning the amount of test that you need is not the same amount of test that somebody else needs. Second of all, it doesn't even manifest into super physiological gains unless you're taking it exogenously, meaning an old man with 800 test is not going to be more muscular than a kid with 400 who works out. We're obsessed with these parameters that have no actual pragmatism because we're looking for excuses as to why we don't look a certain way, why we're not strong enough, or why we can't perform in a certain aspect that we want to. We live in a slug society where everyone is just looking for a cheap magic bullet to solve all their problems. But the reality is hard work, day in, day out, with basic compound movements, a prioritization on sleep, enough protein to 1, satiate you, and 2, build muscle, along with the other laundry list of everything that we know that is good for us, but like we're still asking questions about. Like it's self-evident.
The blame on one thing without realizing that comparison is the biggest thief of them all.
20-year-old men walking around with 100 nanograms per deciliter is an issue, though. Oh, I don't doubt that. I just don't know how common that actually is because we're dealing with social media and a lot of fear-mongering is thriving. But look at those 20-year-olds' lifestyle and their actions, and I could probably point to why their natural test is in the dumpster. Because they're probably gooning perpetually, hunched over, jerking off like a digital cuck, increasing prolactin and stress hormones on repeat. They're not going towards actual dopamine responses. Instead, they're vying for cheap dopamine and serotonin, i.e. fast food, because it satiates us in the moment. But guess what? You're hungry 2 hours later and you ran out of calories, otherwise you're just going to get fat. And then you get so fat, you can't move anymore. And then guess what? You have anxiety, depression, and you're ugly. So you don't feel good about yourself. It's hard to work out because you've backed yourself into a corner. You're gooning perpetually. Your sleep is all fucked up. Like, these are cyclical things that you need to address before it gets that bad.
Fake naturals wouldn't even be a problem if people didn't knowingly or unknowingly compare themselves to those people, and then feel pressured by that comparison to take their advice.
This is hitting way too close to home. The "and you're ugly" part felt personal. I'm being hyperbolic. I'm just saying that your inputs equal your outputs, right? If somebody's walking around with 100 nanograms per deciliter test, well, look at them. Do they lift weights? Do they have a healthy, normal schedule in that they're getting sunlight, they're interacting with other humans? Or are they stuck behind a screen in a dungeon, schizo-ranting into the void? Are they eating slop, or are they trying to make nutritious, healthy, satiating choices with their food? Are they sleeping for at least 7 hours? Is there any sort of hygiene in relation to their recovery? Meaning, sure, maybe you slept 5 or 6 hours one night, but over the course of a week, is there an average that we could point to be like, okay, you're actually getting enough rest and recovery that you need for a functioning adult? Like, these physical biomarkers are directly impacted by what you do.
By their training plans or supplements. But if they rather focused on their own journey, they might seek...
Exactly, like me. I was talking about myself.
A professional instead of an online influencer. If they were interested in something like supplements, they might research it and find out what works instead of relying on an influencer to tell you what to do. The whole gym journey becomes a lot easier when you realize that it's your body, your goals, and your life. And you can do whatever you like about it. And yes, I believe everyone should take care of their...
So, I'll address this, and I'll periodically talk about it. There's people that come to this channel and don't know the origin story of Philion Fit and the fact that I come from a lifting background, right? Because they see me here, they see me in XL or double XL shirt, and I don't really move from the chair. They think I skip leg day, they think I don't even have legs. They think a lot of things. They think I don't lift, they don't think I have any sort of personal experience with fitness, weightlifting, etc. The reality is, yeah, I've done it. I've come full circle. I have the wherewithal, the know-how, and the competency to tell you what works and what doesn't, because I've seen grifters and how they move and how they operate and what they're selling. Okay? You are a product in the fitness industry. It is designed to sell you something, and if they don't, well then, eventually you'll be the product. So I don't lift. Yes, I do lift, I do work out. I had a workout this morning, and it fucking humbled me and knocked me on my ass. Except what I'm doing now is different than traditional weightlifting in a gym-structured environment. Why? Because I have the financial means to do so and to explore hobbies that are challenging and difficult that I find fulfilling. Versus just doing bicep curls in the squat rack at my local Planet Fitness. I've done that. I've benched over 300 pounds at 19, ass to grass, squatting over 400, ripping 500, conventional on the deadlift.
Health and exercise because of all the individual and societal benefits it has, but
But you're not a bodybuilder. But you never stepped on stage. Chat, I'm a 6'4" giga stallion, okay? I don't want to, my goal in life is not to stand on a stage and pose with other men with my fucking shaboing boing hanging out of my goddamn mankini, okay? There's no money in bodybuilding. It is spiritually dead and gay as a sport, okay? And I don't find it fulfilling. So people project these insecurities on me as if I have body dysmorphia. Meanwhile, I'm perfectly content in my own skin, which is brain blasting to most people.
to do so within reason and ideally because it makes you genuinely happy. Holy crap, I do feel like a philosopher at this point, but you guys get the point. I've been on fitness YouTube for what, 5 or 6 years now, and I really want to thank
Most of the people that the fitness industry deems as the pinnacle of masculinity probably can't run a mile in a time that is respectable, probably can't swim 2 laps without throwing up, probably can't defend themselves in a life or death situation, and probably can't move through space and time with any sort of actual fluidity. And that is the endgame shitness industry black pill that more people need to swallow.
you guys so much for supporting the channel, and
Most bodybuilders are 5'5" with deep-seated trauma responses that are just looking for validation. And it manifests into the male gaze because women at a certain point just get scared off.
supporting my endeavors with coaching and my online clinic, and supporting me throughout the years by commenting and liking the videos that I publish. Heck, even critical comments are always welcome so that I can see more sides of the story and improve the content for you guys. So really, thank you. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about the whole body image crisis.
He's cooking, he's sauteing. I think I'm frying at this point. Holy shit.
What factors do you think are affecting it the most, and do you think it's even as big of a deal as I and others make it out to be? Feel free to plop in some stories of your own though, like why you train or if you have a specific goal in your mind for the next year. I love reading those. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and if you want coaching from me and my team, feel free to send me a private message on Instagram, and I'll see you all next time.
I feel like we nailed that. There's no more to say on that topic. We just milked it dry. We took those gyno nipples and drained them of their tren.